work to live.
Here, we'll test. Yeah.
I don't live to work.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody is like, I don't know. Anytime I've worked in a corporate environment, which is most of my life, I watch people freak the fuck out about things, and I'm like, we're not curing cancer, you guys.
Right.
We're making movies.
Yep.
So if you guys could all like not give yourselves high blood pressure because you know we left off a comma on packaging or something,
The
like
thing of it
chill
is that
out.
but you do get that though too, because then the other side of it is then they get like fucking 50 calls about like, oh, did you know you guys threw out a comma?
Yeah,
that's
but
what
I mean,
it
like
is, 'cause
everyone needs
this is
to
America.
calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like everybody chill out. Like we're not doing important work.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm working in the hair industry. We're not saving fucking lives here, motherfuckers. Like, calm down. You know what? Like, we cut hair and I get it. And I don't want to downplay like the importance of my career, because I do think that we do provide a service in which we do help
Of course,
people.
yeah.
However, again, we're not curing fucking cancer here, guys.
Yeah,
we're
and-
definitely not curing the fucking coronavirus.
And you know, I think entertainment is important, clearly. You know, I think entertainment is important. I just don't think it's important enough for people to sacrifice all of their well-being, like happiness, mental energy, and health. Like,
Well, you guys know how I feel. I'm probably the most anti-capitalist here,
Yeah,
like
you really are.
100%. Where I'm just like, I refuse to be like sacrifice my life, which it is. You know, you're working a 40, 50-hour work week. You don't have time to read a book. You don't have time to go to therapy or do self-reflection or go on a hike, be out in nature. You don't have any of that. All you're doing is waking up, being a cog in a machine to give trillionaires even more money.
That's right.
And then you watch a Netflix show and you go to bed. And that is not the way for a fucking human being to live. I wholeheartedly believe that if anything good can come out of this pandemic, I know we've said it before, there's so much about life that can change, that we can choose to move forward in a more fulfilling, more humane, more generous, more we're all in this together kind of spirit. And God, I'm fucking hopeful for it. But I mean, then you see comment threads on the internet about random bullshit and you're like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe we're lucky to get out of this alive. So
that's just the truth. And to be fair, like, honestly, it's so where we are right now. If we aren't looking at social health care system in this country, everyone's going to be bankrupt. We are all going to be fucking bankrupt.
I still don't have health insurance.
Look, I just signed up for it finally, you know, but the thing of it is how many
and
people
they're
are
trying
out
to
of
get
work
rid
right
of
now?
it.
Oh, I know.
They're trying to get fucking rid of it during
I
a
know.
fucking pandemic.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And listen, I don't get any federal aid for my insurance because apparently I make too much money even though I don't have a fucking job. That's cool. But but Crystal does, so heaven forbid. So here we are. So I'm $300 a fucking month, which is okay. Like, to be fair, when I've heard of what other families pay, and it's just for me, but like what people pay for insurance, it is bankrupting. But you can't not have it because you'll be bankrupt if you do get sick.
Yeah.
So there's no
not
way
to
out.
mention that, like, for me, I'm like, because we talked about it on the show like so many times about how I'm just like, I have to be literally on my deathbed to go to the doctor.
yeah.
I won't go to the doctor for anything. So I'm not as worried about doctor bills. I know I should be, especially during this time. But I'm like, I need to get insurance because I've already spent half the year without having insurance.
Yeah.
And my taxes are going to be bananas.
Same.
Because
Yeah.
they will tax the shit out of you if you don't have health insurance.
Well, here's the other side of that coin too, which is that during this pandemic, this year, with everybody losing their fucking jobs and all of us in the same boat, they really need to give us another year off of that because it was supposed to start this year.
Yeah.
They really need to consider they really need to consider that.
Yeah,
being
there's like
postponed.
40 million Americans out of work.
Yeah, and that's what happens when your healthcare system is tied to your job.
I know.
Yep.
So,
And you have to work 40 plus hours just to earn that fucking little piece of healthcare.
oh my God, that you still have to pay out the ass for,
Yep.
even with insurance.
That's exactly right.
Oh my God. Is this any kind of way to live?
Burn it
Let's
down.
all eat the rich.
Oh, God.
You hungry? Eat the rich.
like my worst date is trying to like incite a fucking Occupy Wall Street movement. It's but you
Christina, watch out, man. Like legit, we are gonna get like somebody has dog-eared. Somebody at the FBI has like just dog-eared that corner. They're like, we'll come back to that later.
They're like,
I'm
put a
sorry,
pin in that.
what are their names?
I'm Jessica.
My FBI agent's like, chill, bitch, chill.
Dude,
It's getting hot for you over here.
I know. I feel like me and my FBI agent have an understanding. I feel like he would try to like hide stuff.
He would put you. He would put
he's
you
protecting me
in a little protected closet, like during
just know
purge.
if you're like if your phone starts going haywire and it starts like Morse coding on you, like that's your FBI agent trying to warn you, like SOS, bitch,
get out, run. Speaking of FBI, dude, I am fucking in love. So I do most of our social media, specifically Twitter and Instagram. Sometimes like we do share it a little bit, but I am in fucking love with Witty Idiot. That guy posts the most fire ass shit, and I fucking am in love with him. And he was like, the most recent post that I posted from him is hold on, I have to pull it up because it's fucking hilarious. My soulmate is somewhere out there laying around in sweats, bullying racists in the comments as they dial their elected officials for justice and police reform while a true crime podcast is in the background. I can't wait to find you, you beautiful, sharp-tongued, cozy, twisted bitch.
Yeah, that's literally all three of us. If I'm honest, it's and I was like spot on.
I literally was like, wait, can you see me right now? And he said, he replied to us. He's like, always, I'm the FBI agent on your phone. I was like, oh, well, I approve. Nice. Yeah. I'm so glad he was assigned to me.
How have you been? I've wanted to meet you.
Exactly.
Isn't it so weird and dystopian that we're sitting here making jokes about the fact that the government is surveilling everything we do?
I mean, you either laugh about it or you cry or
you get a bunker and you're that person. And you know what? Fuck it. Exactly. Got my face. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, I did have like this weird like tangent. Have you seen I think they're called Earth houses. They're completely sustainable Earth ships.
I researched the fuck out of Earth ships. I watched so many YouTube videos. I made Anthony watch them. I was like, we can build a whole house out of tires. Let's go.
Yes. Earth ship compound. I'm ready.
Yeah, because I was like, and we even had a conversation about it this morning. Like Eric and I were like, like I think we could fucking deuce out and homestead somewhere.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think if you found a good junkyard, you could fucking put together some real fucking cool shit.
How willing are you to relocate to New Mexico?
I'm just saying it's warm there. We could.
It gets cold in the winter, but I will say I can buy property. I mean, my family owns property there. I can buy property from my grandma. Large plots.
You heard it here first. We're starting a compound.
Cassie, you might have to stay here. I don't know. You don't look too thrilled, but look, like
New
I said,
Mexico's beautiful. I could probably do it.
You would do it if all your friends were there.
I didn't move here because I had friends here. I was lucky enough to have friends here already, and that was just fortunate. But I've grown, my family of friends has grown exponentially. And I think that, and I've said this before, but I think that like the quality of life and who you are, I was always the person, even in Ohio, who was always begging my friends to do something, go out, come do this, come to our house, do this, let's hang out, let's have a game night, and nobody ever wanted to do anything, which is the thing that I did find here is that I think that our friend group is so much more open to doing stuff like, let's go to the park. Let's go do this. Let's take a hike. Let's come over for game night. Let's do things. Let's be, that. But so if that group of friends went with me I think you'd still be the same people, right? You're still the same people no matter where you live. You're not going to work out more just because you live in California. You're not going to start yoga up just because you live in California. But what you are going to do is maybe have a different set of, people.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's not LA. That's just the people that'll go wherever. Well, there we go. Now we have a new project.
I like it. Okay, here we go.
Listen, that's been on my list for a while. I swear to God, I said it on this podcast like months ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh my God.
So Chris said during his meditation this morning, he's been meditating on a container house with a piece of property and
a tiny house?
And a camper. I want a cottage. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm solidly like, I don't want a huge place. I don't want necessarily a tiny home, but I don't want a big place. I want like maybe 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, under 1,000 square feet.
We were actually considering, really considering, and I had talks with my mom about it because it was something that she'd wanted to do for a long time. We have the property already. I'm absolutely certain that my grandma would let me do this if it's something that I wanted to do. We wanted to build a straw bale house.
Oh yeah.
Because you can build a straw bale house very simply. You could do 1,000 square feet. I've seen a lot. And in New Mexico, they actually have
a straw bale house.
So
as I'm
it's
picturing bales of hay.
Yes, it's what it sounds like. So a lot of homes actually, like in New Mexico specifically, like a lot of homes are built this way. It's like a sustainable way to build a house. It's insulated because the straw keeps the home cool in the winter and warm in the summer. And so you build. Yeah, other way around.
Yeah,
got what I said. Yeah. Reverse it. But so you build the frame, and then you do the straw bale between the layers, and then you cover the outside with adobe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's like an adobe house. I mean, you can cover the outside with something else if you wanted to,
right?
But it's a fairly easy thing, and they have a company in New Mexico that you can hire. They're experts at this. You can either go and like take workshops, and they'll teach you how to do all the stuff yourself, or you can hire them for different things. So like there was one couple who hired them to build the foundation and the structure.
That's what I would do.
And then let them do the rest of it and was just available for consulting.
Yeah.
Or you can hire them to come in and do the whole thing, or you can do it with them, and they'll help you build a house that you can live in.
I'm kind of serious.
Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, things start to get a little wild, and we'll pack it in.
Yeah.
Pack it up, pack it in.
Let me begin.
So I also want to address, so sorry to all of you last week. I think that there was a fair amount of screaming into the microphone. And
Dead sister bloody pillow, you're not going to scream? Come on. Come on.
You screamed too.
Yes.
Let's be honest. You screamed in your car. You screamed at your house.
It's like watching a scary movie where you're like, no, bitch, don't go in the basement.
You know,
get your head off that pillow.
I do apologize to your eardrums.
Yeah.
It was not our intention to blow them out of your head.
Yeah. The thing of it is too, is that we actually had somebody reach out to us on Twitter who was like, please stop yelling and whatever. And I think that the big thing that what we're having is we have been remotely recording. And so it's been a little bit more difficult to control the sound of my voice and how we're able to record. So, and we apologize for that. So we're trying to, as you said last week, we've all been tested negative for COVID. So these couple episodes have been recorded live, but we're going to have to go back to recording remotely probably here soon until we do another test, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
We're
doing the best we can. We promise. And we do hear you. And we are going to try to be very cognizant of that now.
Yeah. Because this is my worst date. I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
And we're just here to help you plan for...
Exactly. I feel like this is our episode of Doomsday Preppers.
Honestly, it feels a little like that. Like, if nobody has listened to this podcast before and they were like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And like, this is your first episode. They're probably like, what the fuck? Like, why are they talking about?
Find yourself someone to date that also wants to build a straw bale house.
Well, yeah.
With all your friends.
Look at it this way. Like, can you survive being locked in a bunker with that person? Because if the answer is no.
Yeah. Now's not the time.
Maybe don't go on that second date. You know what?
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
You don't like the way they squeeze their toothpaste? Then it ain't going to change in the bunker.
It's not going to work for you. Although I do think that coronavirus lockdown has been a good pre-test.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
To whether or not you can survive doomsday.
Absolutely.
With somebody.
Are there little things like that you're finding? Because, I mean, this is definitely not how I thought a new relationship was going to be.
Manifest, right?
Yeah. Being locked down with somebody. I mean, Eric and I have gotten to know each other a lot, really, really quickly.
Level.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to think if there are things. I'm like, I know there are things about me that must just drive him up the wall.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, do you guys have like any things that you think are like habits that you're like, oh, I bet that really annoys my partner
Oh,
that I
about
do
myself?
that. Yeah.
No, I mean, have you met me? I am a ray of sunshine.
I know that I do. I know that I do. But you know what's funny is like where we have kind of like not butt heads because like we don't argue ever really, but like the things that I have found is like no one is coming over. Like no one's coming over to my house. So why not make it as convenient as possible for me to live?
Yeah.
Like so for instance, like when I'm sitting on the couch, I have like a like extension cord that I plug in, that I plug my phone into so that I can have my phone charging while I'm sitting on the couch, right? Because there's no outlet near me.
Yeah.
And I take it out every night to plug my phone in, to sit on the couch. Every morning, Anthony unplugs it, winds it up, and puts it away. And I'm like, why? Just leave it out. Just leave it out. You're making me have to go get it out, unwind it, plug it back in every single day. Nobody's here.
Anthony is me.
Why? I don't understand, Cassie.
I know. I'm sorry.
For why?
I don't know. There's something about having a nice looking aesthetic in your home. I don't know what it is, but to me, it makes in this world where I can't control anything, at least what I can control is my environment.
That is definitely how he feels. 100%. That's how he feels. And I agree. Like I want to be able to enjoy my home and like be comfortable in my home, but also for me being convenience is comfort.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am trying.
Oh, that's a good point.
I want it to be convenient for me. I want it set up in a way that is like comfortable for me to like live, man. I just worked all day. You're going to make me get up and go get the extension cord?
When you know this is what I do. Yeah, I think mine would probably be getting hangry. Yeah. I definitely.
But he knows.
Yeah.
He's so good. He knows. He's like, what?
He's like, I got you meat snacks.
Got you a Snickers.
Because, yeah, I do. I definitely have noticed the older I get, like my blood sugar and stuff like that. And I just start getting fucking snarky. So, yeah, that's, I think, my thing. I'm also obsessed with the stovetop. I fucking hate a dirty stovetop. I really can't stand it. It's white. I want it to stay white. When it gets like grease splatters and stuff, then I don't even want to fucking cook in the kitchen because I'm like, it's dirty.
That's the other thing with us too, is like Anthony cleans every day, which God bless him. I'm so happy he does that. I like that he gets up in the morning. It brings him a sense of like calm and structure, and he loves doing it. And I'm totally happy that he does it. But he does the cleaning. I do the cooking. So it gets really, it can get a little tense because he will clean and then I have to cook dinner and then he like doesn't want me to use the stove because he's like, it'll get dirty.
And you're like,
but
how do I prepare food?
How you're stressing me out because now I'm like stressed about like once I was cooking and like something spilled on the stovetop and I was like, oh, no, like I stopped what I was doing and like cleaned it up because I was like,
tense. You're like, oh no, Anthony's gonna be
upset.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's interesting the things that you like learn
blink
about
twice
each other.
if you're not safe.
Eyes wide open.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Can we talk about Flavortown though?
Ugh.
I'm for it.
I'm here for it.
How
I
do
know
you feel,
that I had it
Christina?
up on our board to talk about it last week, and we've been tagged again, and I'm like, Columbus as Flavortown. So we're both, Christina and I are both from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, and I'm all for renaming the city. I'm all for that not being the priority now for people when like maybe Columbus PD is like going around fucking in unmarked vans. Kidnapping protesters off the street.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I'm all for, laughing through the pain, and Flavortown is funny, but I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, it's clearly
people.
a joke. It's clearly a joke, and I think people are exactly that. They're trying to get a little bit of laughter because Columbus is a fucking shit show right now.
It really is.
And they are still protesting as many. This is the thing too, is we have to discuss the fact that the media is just done covering this. So apparently it's not happening
and protests
anymore.
are happening every
day here.
Here in LA, there
every
are
day in
protests.
Columbus, every day in Seattle, every day.
I was just talking to you that in where I'm from in Southwest Missouri, there are still protests happening.
But when the media stops putting an eye on it, that's when that fucking shady fucking behavior happens, where like cops are able to go around indiscriminately just fucking toss protesters into an unmarked van because media's not covering it. It drives me fucking
Well, the media doesn't want to cover anything because it's peaceful, and heaven for fucking bid, because you don't have these fucking deterrents out there rioting and fucking like burning shit. You know, so it's not exciting
it's
anymore.
less sexy. Yeah, it's not as exciting whenever things are peaceful. But yeah, I mean, to kind of bring it back to something lighter, Flavortown.
Flavortown. Back to Flavortown.
So there was a petition going around because obviously I love to see it. I love to see a good slave trader statue get dragged into the ocean. I'm here for it, or the lake or the river or what have you. I'm here for it. And so obviously there have been Christopher Columbus statues that are starting to come down, as they should, because that guy was a fucking monster.
Yep.
And Columbus, Ohio is named after Christopher Columbus.
I have a funny about that too, because somebody was like, because Guy Fieri is apparently was born in Columbus. Wasn't
but
even
raised in Vegas.
Raised
so it's
in Vegas.
like, do you guys
exactly.
not have anybody else?
I know,
like,
we do, and that's the funny thing. So at any rate, the funny thing is that somebody was like, well, I mean, maybe if he still lived there, and I'm like, nobody's really serious. I don't think. I hope not. I hope nobody's really serious about Flavortown.
I'm serious.
However, funny. And would be okay saying, where are you from?
I'm 100% serious.
Flavortown.
In case you were wondering,
Yeah,
I'm
Flavortown,
100% for it.
Yeah,
I mean, feel like that's hilarious.
I do. I think it's hilarious.
It makes me think of like those contests, and I think it was in England when they were like, name our new ship, and its name's like Tootie McBoatface or something like that. I'm like, this is what happens when you let the public decide.
That's right.
And so now there's like the freaking HMS Tootie McBoatface or whatever.
But I kind of love that. I kind of love that. And like my great grandmother lived in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, which changed its name in like the 1950s because of the TV show Truth or Consequences. And because Truth or Consequences ran like they ran some kind of competition where they were like, it was a promotion. It was like any town that changes its name to Truth or Consequences gets XYZ. And they did it. I don't remember what it was before. Yeah. And they call it TRC now. Like my great grandma lived in TRC. And I think it's amazing. I'm like, yeah, man, let's turn Columbus, Ohio into Flavortown.
Pretty like cool name for
Truth or Consequences.
It's great. Yeah.
I kind of like it.
So somebody posted, because I posted like some kind of meme about it, which I thought was hilarious. And somebody was like, hey, or they were like, well, maybe if he still lived there. And I was like, except that Columbus never lived in Columbus. So if we're going by that theory,
like, don't think he's been there either.
No,
so
yeah. He's never been there. Definitely wasn't born there. Definitely never lived there. So maybe, here's the thing too, because people were like, oh, they're tearing down these Columbus statues. Columbus has a rich history Ohio in general has a rich native history. Oh, and so, fucking name that city Tecumseh.
Oh, you know, for sure.
Chief Blue Jacket. Let's put a fucking statue of Chief Blue Jacket up. Let's,
Yeah.
These, there's tons of ways. I would totally, fucking name that city Tecumseh. I would fucking proudly say I was from Tecumseh, Ohio.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill this week?
Well, hold that thought right there. We have a new patron.
Yay!
So this person is actually a friend of ours, IRL. So I want to give a very special patron shout out to Erica.
Oh, yay!
Erica Brower.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining our Patreon family. We love you so much. We miss seeing your face in person.
Also, congratulations on the recent nuptials. And we're glad that, listening to us chit chat about whatever the fuck's on our mind gives you some happiness in your days.
Yeah. Some respect.
Yay. All right. So fuck, marry, kill.
You know what I was thinking? Okay. And feel free to shoot me down as always. But I was thinking, I was watching or trying to make Anthony watch the original Penny Dreadful, which I don't know if you guys ever saw.
Are you talking about the one with Josh Hartnett?
The one with Josh Hartnett.
Oh, God, yes. And I fucking love the chick that's in it.
That's exactly where I was coming, like where I was going. So Eva Green is in it.
Yeah, she's
and Eva Green,
beautiful.
So
beautiful.
pretty.
Also, she's a spooky bitch.
She is.
And I was like, we should do like Helena Bonham Carter, like
Yes.
Eva Green, like spooky bitches.
Yes.
Because
I
there
love
are
Helena Bonham Carter.
there are certain women who always play kind
Spooky
of
bitches.
weird,
Quirky.
ladies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of like it because she's like scary sexy, where like
You know
she
who
might
else?
hurt you.
I think is Chick Face, who was just in the movie where her what's that called? The Invisible Man.
Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, Elizabeth Moss
Okay,
is
she
totally.
was just in Shirley too, which I haven't
Yes.
seen yet, but
She's
I've
a
heard
spooky
is
bitch.
great. I'm down.
Yeah, there
So
we
down.
go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Spooky
so we have
ladies.
Eva Green, Helena Bonham Carter, and
Elizabeth
Moss.
Oh man, this is
I think I
kind
know.
of hard.
I know-
Actually,
I know
I think
too.
I know. I know exactly what I'm
Okay.
going to do.
Okay, Cass, you go first.
All right, I'm going to marry Helena Bonham Carter because I'm fucking in love with her. And she is my hashtag hair goals always. Hashtag like looks goals always. I just want to have that kind of fucking.
I want to
She's
have that kind of confidence where
Always
she just
been a just
Love it.
fucking
don't
herself.
care. Yeah, she does
You
not
know?
care about your opinion.
Nope.
Here for her all day. I love her. I am going to fuck Eva Green because she's a hot, scary bitch. She is very hot. And I'm going to kill Elizabeth Moss. And I don't like it that I'm doing that, but I feel like I'd make good friends. But she's
Yeah.
just on that list, like the least fave.
I think for me, Elizabeth Moss, I didn't watch that much of Mad Men. I did watch some. And I think I've just never, I love her as an actress. I think she's a great actress, but there's something about her where I'm like, I don't know why I think that
Yeah.
we wouldn't mesh well.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it.
I just think she's very intense. I mean, I think Eva Green is intense too, but I think that Elizabeth Moss has an intensity that is so. I actually really, really like Elizabeth Moss. I think
Yeah.
that she is probably one of the best actresses
Oh, yeah.
of our time right now.
Invisible Man was
I think
great.
she's just so insanely talented. Like
Yeah.
you cannot watch Handmaid's Tale without being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
is so incredibly talented. And I think she's underrated. Like I think people sleep on her
Yeah.
a lot when they shouldn't. But I don't think I could marry her because she has a very actory intensity
Yeah.
that I don't know if I could handle. Like she's I of like the same
Daniel
reason why I couldn't
Day-Lewis.
be married
Exactly.
to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, it's just
Exactly.
like, ugh, God, like I respect
Respect you?
artists.
Yeah.
I respect their process. I would not want to live my life.
I need you
with
to be
that.
able to turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm
I
going to
don't
be
think she could.
living with that intensity all
Right.
the time. And
Yeah.
like, I don't think I can handle that. So I couldn't marry her. I think I am going to end up killing her, not because I don't like and appreciate her very much,
Yeah.
but just because.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to actually marry Eva Green.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to marry Eva Green. There's something like mysterious and interesting about her. Like I feel like she's going to like sip whiskey next to an open fire and like
Definitely.
quietly, calmly in that really husky voice she has, like talk to me about some fascinating shit. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I like it. So I think I'm going to marry her. And then I'm going to fuck Helena Bonham Carter because that bitch
Dude.
is wild.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I feel like there would be a drawer full of toys.
Yeah.
So many fun.
she's got a
toys.
swing, like she's got a whole room. It's painted blood red.
It's like Tim Burton. Burton
yeah.
sex. You know, in my head, I'm like lots of quirky toys and like clown's nose.
No.
She's gonna tie
Too
you to
far.
one of those like spinny boards
Yeah.
and throw knives at you.
Oh no. There's balloons there, aren't there? Oh, I went out.
That was a good one. Yeah. No,
Well, what
I
was
like
yours?
Yeah, what's yours?
No, I'm just doing the same as Cassie.
Oh,
so
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna fuck Eva Green. She was in this movie. Was it called Mrs. Peregrine's something
Yeah.
School
or whatever?
Unusual Children or
And
something
yeah,
like that.
and just the costumes. She
read that
was
book.
made for those like period costumes. You
yeah,
know,
she's so hot
pretty,
and Penny Dreadful.
So
Like
pretty.
she's pretty. Yeah, that's what it is. And she's unusual. Like she's unusual looking,
Right.
But
Unique.
she's still like very pretty. It's hard to put my finger on what about it. Like I was watching her in Penny Dreadful, and I'm like, there's something about her that is so unusual, like about her features, but she's still classically beautiful.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah, she has that sharp chin and high
very
cheekbones.
low eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like her brow bone sits very low, which
gives her a mysterious
yes.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds good.
Sweet.
And we're back. Okay, let's get started. So this one is from Reddit. I worked in a record store where this guy came in every so often and we would have polite conversation. And then one day he asked me out. So I thought, why not? He seems like a nice guy. Red flag. So within the first 5 minutes of the date, he's already chatting up the girl at the bar with me standing right there. And that's when I realized that I'm probably just the record shop girl that he chats with. And I totally know what she means. Is like, there are some guys who just like have a girl at every place they go.
Oh, sure.
And it's just like, you think you're special, but it's just like,
you're just record store girl.
And then he's got like, Subway shop girl. And then he's got like
Starbucks girl.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some people have a gift for making people feel special.
I think that's called a psychopath.
You might be right. So we're sitting at the bar and he leaves to go to the bathroom. And this older man who had been sitting at the bar before we arrived starts talking to me, which I perceived as innocent small talk. But when my date returns, he slams down the money for the drinks and says we have to leave.
Oh.
So on the walk to the next bar, he complains that he can't leave me alone without another guy hitting on me. And that's why we had to leave.
Okay.
Controlling. Disgusting.
Listen.
You don't own me, and like you were just
Why
fucking
you just
talking
piss on my leg. Why'd you go to the bathroom? You could have just peed right on my leg.
Yeah, you could have just collared me up, tied me to a post.
God, ugh, I hate that.
Yeah, and especially since like clearly he is one of those people who he's chatting it up with girls left and right, so feels like a double standard, Brandon. Okay. Now, I have to mention, for the short amount of time that we were at that bar, my date went to the bathroom a few too many times.
Cocaine.
And I started to get the feeling he was on coke. This was reinforced when we walked past. This is just a funny mental image to me. This was reinforced when we walked past a group of teenagers doing pull-ups on a tree. And of course, my date has to show him how it's done.
Oh, God. Do not engage teenagers on a date.
Did we not just, or ever?
Or
like,
ever.
Did we not already address the fact that like 13 and 14-year-olds are the scariest of all time?
Dude.
Like, I would cross the
Keep
street
your
to
eyes
avoid
down. Keep your eyes down. Don't make eye contact. You just keep going. If they hear them say something, they start yelling.
Yeah,
it's not you.
You treat
just keep
them
moving.
the same way you treat the hair straightening lady at the mall.
Ooh,
You just keep walking. Okay?
No eye
contact. That's right. So he starts doing pull-up after pull-up. And honestly, I wasn't sure if he was trying to impress me or the 14-year-olds. Both. Why not both?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that was
A little bit of
the
column
key.
A.
Yeah.
A little bit of column B. So the next bar, he starts telling me all the things that women shouldn't do, or more so, the masculine things that women shouldn't be trying to do.
Okay, here we go.
He then leaves to go to the bathroom again and somehow manages to get into a fight with 2 other guys, and he gets kicked out of the bar. This feels like the embodiment of toxic masculinity, like in one cocaine-filled.
He's checking all the boxes, or it feels like one of those bingo cards. It's like, oh, he got kicked out of the bar. Bingo.
Yeah,
I got a bingo.
Exactly.
It's a bingo.
I'll always remember the look a girl gave me as I followed him out of the bar. The look of, poor girl, she has to deal with her boyfriend's shit. We have all either given that look or been on the receiving end.
Yep.
All of us.
Yep.
Which I found funny because I promptly walked off from the date and never saw him again.
Good call.
Oh my God.
Good fucking call.
I'm trying to think. I've definitely gotten that look before. And I'm like thinking of the few things where I'm just like, man, I should have just pieced out, not like finished the date up or whatever.
Well, that's what I mean. I was like, I really feel like that was the universe trying to save you when he got kicked out of that bar, because you could just be like, well, he's kicked out.
I'm going to stay
I'm
here.
just going to stay here.
And finish my cocktail very, very slowly and call an Uber. Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. Find someone to escort me to my Uber, because who knows what that fucking coked out crazy person is doing.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Well, this one's pretty epic. So
oh God.
get ready.
Okay.
to go on a ride.
Buckled in.
I just came out of a relationship and felt like a bit of casual dating will be fun. So I went onto Tinder. No shame there. Like, yeah. It's I made it clear to the few people I actually matched with and spoke to that I didn't want anything serious, just a dinner date or pub night here and there. Perfect. I matched with a really cute guy. Let's call him Pete. He had just moved to my city and also wasn't looking for anything serious. He just wanted to meet some people and see some local spots. First night, we met up at a well-known tapas bar, and I chose this place because I had a few friends that were waitresses there, so I felt safe meeting a stranger.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect.
Doing everything right. He was on time. We had nice chats. Really cool guy on first impressions. We spoke about work, to which he responded he's a software developer, but he just started freelancing. We spoke about where he stays now that he's moved up here, and he said he's sharing a place with some friends. Rent is quite pricey in this city. Where isn't it? So it made sense to me. He asked where I live, and I told him I'm lucky to have my own one-bedroom apartment in quite a nice part of town, mostly thanks to my parents that helped me save and gave me a portion of the deposit money for my 21st birthday, which I invested and grew until I had enough to put down a decent deposit.
Nice.
I don't know why this sounds like you, Keegan. You know, just like very like I had a plan. I did the things.
Stuck to the plan.
You stuck to the plan. He then offered to drop me off at home, but I said no, I prefer to Uber by myself. He asked if this was because I'm going to go meet someone else after him, and I laughed because
What if it was?
Genuinely thought this was a joke.
What if it was? Like, it's none of your fucking business. I don't
know
know you,
own
Pete.
me.
Yeah.
You don't own me.
And you don't know each other. You're just meeting. There's
You
no
don't know me.
obligation. There's no kind of, she had it out front at the very beginning. She's like, it's just casual. Let's meet up, for
Why do they feel
drinks.
like they have the right to police what you do? Because not to say that women don't ever do this, but it seems far less common in these stories that women are like, well, what are you doing? Where are you going? Like when you just met someone.
Right. Yeah. The next time I saw Pete was about 3 days later. He said he knew it was fast, but he actually couldn't stop thinking about me and he wanted to see me again. This time we met at a different restaurant, one I chose because I went to school with the owner, and the place is a little bit more pricey, and he got super annoyed with me for ordering as much as I did. I couldn't understand why, since I insisted on paying for my own stuff both times we met. That night, same story. Let me drop you off at home, please.
No.
Again,
It's freaking me out that you're so persistent about dropping me off. Like you want to know where I live
Sir,
so bad.
I literally fucking told you what my preference is. And if I want to invite you to my fucking house, I will tell you.
Exactly. Again, I said no. While we're in the middle of this conversation, he gets a call. He stepped away, but I could still hear a fair amount. No, I think I'm going to stay with you again. Yeah, I'm with her. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'll be home soon. So now I think he's chatting to his roommate or maybe his mom, but I don't ask. He comes back to our table. Please, I insist. Bad things happen to women that Uber home this late by themselves.
Oh, you fucking creep.
All the way off.
Not having the energy to argue, I tell him fine. I put my address into his GPS. As soon as he got home, he messages me and tells me he'll be picking me up in the morning to go for a picnic.
This is why I didn't want you to have my fucking address, you psycho.
Exactly.
No.
This is literally, because I've read like a lot of stories. I've had my own experiences. One of the best things that you can do is, you have quite a few dates before you give your address out, number one. Number two is the other day I was reading something like there's ways that you can have like a Google phone number that's not your actual phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So
We
people
talked about
can't
that.
fucking
Yeah.
find your address. And that is what you should do because you don't fucking know these people, and
No.
people are scary and weird sometimes, and you got to protect yourself. So come 10 a.m. the next morning, best believe he's right outside my apartment. I get into his car, and as he leans over to kiss my cheek, I notice that his breath stinks. Obviously, I'm a little grossed out. We have our picnic, and it's quite nice. He tried to kiss me a few times, but I avoided it with everything in me. By about 4 p.m., I tell him I really want to go home.
It's the longest picnic ever.
That's 6 fucking hours. The park we went to is about an hour and a half drive from my apartment.
Well, I'm sorry, they don't have parks in your city? They don't have anything closer?
I don't like this.
An hour and a half to drive for picnic? Oh, no. Thank you.
I don't like it.
So I couldn't really Uber back home because it would cost a fortune. He agrees it's time to go. So we get into his car and we're off. I fell asleep in the car on the drive back. And when I woke up, he asked if we should finish the rest of the bubbly we got for mimosas up at my apartment. I said to him, I don't want to. And he just snaps. He raised his voice and said something along the lines of, what are you hiding from me? Just be honest. Why are you so desperate to keep me out of your apartment? I was so confused. I actually just kept quiet.
Feels like projecting.
Yeah. He dropped me off, but I could see his car across from my apartment for about a half an hour before he actually left.
You know that stalkers are like the scariest to me.
Yeah.
Like stalkers are so fucking scary to me.
So she says, so naturally I'm freaked out because I made it clear I didn't want anything serious, and he said he felt the same. I said to him, if that's the case, I think we should just take a break from hanging out with each other. About 5 days later, he messages and asks if we can go for dinner again. He found an Indian place he knows I'll love. I tell him it's cool. He should just send me the address. He tells me that he'll pick me up.
No
on all of these. So 7 p.m. comes. He tells me he's downstairs. I go down to meet him, and I see he's standing at my gate. I pressed the remote to open the gate, and he walked inside to meet me. Show me which one is yours. I'd love to see how you live. Not hi, not how are you. That was his opening line.
I'm so scared for her.
I know. This is terrifying.
I fucking hate this.
This is my nightmare. So now I'm naturally unsettled. I say to him, I'm starving. Can we go for dinner? I'll show you my place later. At dinner, he gets a call again. This time, he didn't step away. Pete. Yeah, I don't know. I can let you know by about 10. He then turns to me. Am I sleeping by you tonight? Me. No. I don't know. I have work tomorrow. Pete to me. Yeah, me too. Then back to the caller. I'll let you know, okay? Caller. No, you're not. Can you just get your things, please? Pete. And do what with them? Callers.
He doesn't have a place to live.
Take them to that girl you're seeing. I'm done asking you.
Yes, he doesn't have a place to live. He is trying to stay in her house. This is what I suspected early on. I was like,
he's hoping he can get a dick for keys arrangement.
No, sir.
Your dick is not good enough. I guarantee you.
No, dicks don't pay rent. They do
Amen.
not. Now I'm sitting here in absolute shock and terror. What the fuck is going on here? Our food arrives and we barely speak. I say to him, why did you ask if you can sleep over by me? We're not spending time together like that. You know this. He then spins this story about how he just wants to hang out and again, see how I live. I then say to him very frankly that I don't like having strangers in my apartment. He gets very touched and the bill arrives. As per usual, I pay for myself. He pays for himself. I say to him, I'll get an Uber home. He says, what's the use? I already know where you live. Let me drop you off. By now, I've already decided this will be the last time I see him.
Absolutely.
I get into his car and I reach for the jumper that I threw in the back when he fetched me.
Nope.
I noticed a bag in the back of the car full of clothes and toiletries as well as a pillow.
Oh, honey.
I don't think much of it. I don't personally drive or own a car, but I know my sister always has the most random shit in the back seat. On the way home, he's dead quiet when suddenly he says, do you know how selfish you are? I've had no issue driving you around, but you don't want me to sleep over by you. I say to him that I've never had an issue with Ubering, and if he's so touched, I also have no issue with paying him what the Ubers would have cost me.
I love that she uses the word touch like that.
She's
like
clearly
bothered.
British.
Yeah, and I love it.
Because she said jumper, so I was like, she's clearly British.
I'm going to start using touched in that way. Like, listen, if you're going to get really touched about this, then...
Yes, it's a great phrase. His phone rings again. Caller, your stuff is at the security boom at the gate, Pete. Stay with your girlfriend or stay with your mom. You're fucked for taking advantage of everyone like this. Pete, I don't speak to my mom. You know this, you bitch. And then he hangs up.
Even his mom is like, no, thank you.
No.
Wow.
Now, I think this is maybe an ex-girlfriend that he needs to collect things from. Before I've even had a chance to process what happened, he turns to me and starts yelling at me. I have nowhere to go. Are you fucking happy? You spoiled brat, living off of mommy and daddy's money, getting driven around by me like I fucking work for you, bitch.
Go ahead and open that car door and just
roll
tuck
right
and
out.
roll right out.
My whole body got stiff with fear. I don't know if I'm going to cry or throw up. In my head, I'm just planning how I'm going to grab my bag the second he stops and run straight to the cafe under my apartment. If you run through the cafe, you can get to a gate that takes you to the back part of my apartment, and it works with fingerprint access.
Nice.
I know. There wasn't time for me to find my keys in my bag, and I didn't want the main gate I normally use to open wide enough for him to get in when I go in.
Oh my God. It's so fucking scary. Like the fact that she even has to think about these
that.
things.
Exactly. Because you don't fucking know people. You don't know. And if someone that you barely know that you've spent 3 dates with now, so like not that long, is yelling at you in a confined space.
I don't like it.
Getting into a car with strangers too is just like it's so, it fills me with so much anxiety. Like I oftentimes think, especially because we do this podcast, like what it would be like to date in modern times, because I never have had to. And all of that stuff fills me with so much fear.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
also thumbprint access.
I know. This
Nice.
chick is a bad bitch, and I love it. He stops at my apartment, and as I planned, I jump out, run into the cafe, run out the back, through the little gate, up to the second floor, and I hammered on the neighbor's door. I went inside and told her and her husband everything that happened and asked if they would mind calling the cafe to explain why I ran through with no explanation and in such a state. I blocked Pete, and
wow,
I haven't...
that is really thoughtful. That
I
she's
know.
like, I'm gonna call them and like just let them know.
like
Hey,
I would not be
sorry.
thinking about it like that. I'd be like, sorry about you.
I blocked Pete, and I haven't seen him since. All I know is he scared the living daylights out of me, and I never, ever want to see him again.
That's so
Wow.
scary.
Yeah, I just feel like there's
Ugh.
like lessons there too. Like the
Yeah.
fact that she's usually really good about it and really good about her boundaries.
Well,
and
he wore
stuff.
her down, and
Yeah.
obviously, like again, I believe that women are conditioned, specifically women are conditioned to be very polite. And if you have someone insisting, and especially insisting under the guise of trying to protect you, quote unquote,
Right.
like you can feel obligated to let them drive you home or like whatever. You know, trust your instincts. Like if you're just like, I'm really not ready for this yet.
Yep.
And also that's a red fucking flag. Even if they're saying that it's for your own good or your protection or trying to be nice, it's a red flag if they're being that insistent.
Absolutely.
That they do something that you clearly have stated you don't want.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because then, yeah. Oh, gross.
All right. Well, so this story says, ladies, I love your podcast more than anything and recommend it to anyone that will listen.
Yay.
I never thought I would have a bad date mortifying enough to write in, but tonight I was definitely proven wrong.
Oh,
no.
How
I'm so
on brand for
sorry.
2020.
I mean, listen, we're grateful for the content, but we're sorry you had to go through this to get it.
Hey, you know what? We'll laugh and cry together.
So, for a bit of background, I got out of an 8-year relationship back in February, right before COVID hit, and then got into a quarantine relationship immediately after.
Oh, no.
Not one of my better life choices.
Hey.
But you live and you learn.
Exactly.
The quarantine relationship ended in April, and since then, I've been warily getting back into the dating field. After a successful date this past Sunday, I met up with Sam, a delightful man I hit it off with on Hinge, for a second date at a local whiskey bar that's also known for its killer food menu and outdoor seating. An hour before our date, I couldn't figure out what to wear and last minute decided on a red floral print sundress I had picked up from J. Crew a few years ago. It was a bit worn, but still cute. And since it's been hot lately, I thought it would be the perfect for the night out. As I walked into the bar, I saw my date talking with the owner, who he's really good friends with. I went over, said hello, and we made our way to our table. No more than 5 minutes into our date, I felt something on the back of my dress pop. My zipper had busted
Oh,
open
no.
about 3 inches at the top of my dress. I thought, well, that's going to be an issue, but maybe it'll just stay split at the top of my dress and my hair can cover it. It'll be no big deal.
Oh, no. Is this going to be a hospital gown situation?
We've all been there, right? When something happens and you know in your heart, you're like, that's going to be a problem, but you're not willing to deal with it mentally yet. You're just
that's
like
a problem for future me.
Yeah, that's a problem for me in 15 to 20 minutes. But
That's right.
for now, I'm just going to ignore it.
Oh God.
No such luck for me. The longer I sit sipping my cocktail, the more I feel the zipper split one by one, all the way back from the nape of my neck to the tip of my ass crack. 10 minutes in, and I was holding my dress for dear life with my elbows, trying not to make sudden movements.
No. So is she just like, everything's fine, like doing this?
Yeah, just elbows in.
God.
Oh, but you know, I just can't imagine the amount of cold sweat that is starting to happen because
my armpits are spicy.
You're trying to hold a conversation like they're talking to you about like their golden retriever or whatever, and you're in the back of your mind like, oh my God, what am I gonna do when I have to stand up?
Here's what I would do, and God, you just gotta hope that you had like a good text game with this person. I'd be like, hey, so my dress just split like down to my asshole. Can I have your shirt? That's literally what I would do. I'm like, I'm playing consequences in my head.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
You're like, I'm already playing this out. Here's what I would do.
Sorry, I just had like a recovered memory. So one time I was at work. It was like years ago. I was probably like 23, and I was at work, and there was like a new guy in the office, and he was like really good looking. He was like a good looking guy. He looked kind of like like Idris Elba, actually. Like that's the vibe.
Shit.
Okay, so we got that vibe.
dang.
You said good looking. I was thinking good looking, but you were like, no, he was a god.
Okay, I mean he wasn't Idris Elba, but
Okay.
you know,
adjacent.
vibes.
Idris Elba adjacent.
Yeah.
Charming
You
one
know,
bedroom.
Kroger brand. Idris Elba. So I was like getting coffee, right? And I had an interview, I think that day or something. It's because I remember exactly what I was wearing. I was wearing heels, which I don't always do. Like I was wearing black heels, and I was wearing a black pencil skirt, like a wiggle skirt, and like a white top. And I was like, oh, I look good, right? And like he's like chatting me up at the coffee or whatever, and I'm like talking to him, whatever. And then I walk away, and I know that he is watching me walk away.
Yeah.
I like turned around. I know he's watching me walk away. And then I get back to my desk, and I realize that because you know pencil skirts, like the ones that come up to your waist, they have really long zippers, and my zipper was like all the way down.
Oh, no.
My skirt was like unzipped, like completely. I was like, oh no.
He was watching you walk away, all right. He was like, God damn.
I know. I was like, my ass probably looks so good.
And
And I was like,
he's
oh
like-
no, that's not what that was.
And he's like, do I tell it?
Yeah, that's what he was.
She's too far away.
Say something. No.
Mortifying. Okay.
All right. Oh, God. I figured that since it was just a cocktail hour, maybe I could get away with not moving for the next half hour. And then I just make a mad dash to my car before anyone, including the owner of the restaurant and the waiters and waitresses and all knew my date super well, realized that my wardrobe malfunctioned.
Oh no.
And then he ordered appetizers. I realized, oh, sweet Jesus, this is a dinner date. So I took a swig of my drink, and after summoning a bit of liquid courage, I look at him and said, Sam, I have a problem. Oh? Approximately 3 minutes into our date, my dress split completely in half. Stifles giggle. Oh dear, what can I do to help? She's like, my car is the piece of shit Honda across the street. I need you to take my keys and go into the back seat and find my jean jacket and bring it to me. He took my car keys and ran over to my car as I tried to fumble for
Sweet
a pin
angel.
in my purse as anything that might salvage this damn dress, but to no avail. So I pressed my back into the wall behind me and tried to look natural. Luckily, Sam quickly came to my rescue and brought me my jean jacket and didn't even judge my nightmare of a car, which is admittedly disgusting.
Oh, no, you're like,
I wasn't prepared for you to see my car yet.
I know. Be like, I'm so sorry for the 6 crumpled McDonald bags.
Is there, and I've literally broken out into a cold sweat at work, because my old boss used to like to take us out I mean, he barely ever paid, but that's neither here nor there. But he liked to go to lunch with us, but he would fly in from San Francisco every week, so he didn't have a car, and so someone would have to drive.
Oh God!
And he would spring lunch on us, let's go to lunch, and the cold sweat of I'm not ready. I haven't vacuumed my car.
Yeah,
it looks like a shithole.
Oh, I know. My car is of a deep embarrassment to me, and I think it's because I hate that car so much. I just hate it that I keep my house very well kept, and I try because it gives you anxiety when your shit is messy, But there's something about the car for me is the black hole of just fuck it, and it is so gross. I would be mortified if a first date had to see my car. First of all, had to see my split dress, and then had to see my bird shit covered fast food laden car.
Yeah. My car is filthy on the outside, but
spotless on the inside.
Cassi, you keep a clean car.
Yes, you do.
I have a nice car, so I like to keep it clean.
Yeah,
but I'm about to turn that bitch in and doesn't have tags, and I'm trying to just discreetly keep it between two parked cars on the street, so I can get away with one more month without tags.
Been there, dude.
Just turn it in.
Been there.
Turn it in. All right. So, where am I? Car, which is admittedly disgusting. Not only that, we had a good laugh, and then he pulled out his phone to tell me about the time he had to wear a skin-tight women's romper on a first date because of a dare.
Oh shit!
I'll let him write this story in himself. Thank you. I do need to hear that.
Oh my gosh, please.
Yes. When he had to run to the restroom, he even offered to walk behind me in case I had to go to so no one would see me. Since
are you married now?
Fucking jean jacket was cropped and didn't basically help nothing to help in the ass crack situation. At least I had a cute pair of panties on. At the end of the night, he walked me to my car and he went in for the goodnight kiss. He put his hand on the small of my back and felt skin and probably my underwear and said, "Oh God, I think I went to second base."
I kind of like
him.
Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to get one more joke in before the end of the night, of course. And after the amazing first kiss, we went ahead and made plans with me for a third date. So maybe this wasn't my worst date after all. Next time, though, no dress.
There you go. I love it.
That's a great story, dude. Also, yes, he needs to send in a story, but also too, we were talking about this because I can barely handle conversations with my parents right now. So instead of talking about why you should wear a mask, maybe you guys should ask your parents their fucking most mortifying vintage stories. Because I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Here for it.
Speaking of, I think I'm going to do that with mine.
You should.
I am.
It makes me think of my Gigi when I my Gigi and this is out to her. She and I would sit around the table and she would just chain smoke, drink coffee. And she was born in the early 30s, raised on Marine bases. So she would tell me her date stories. And just she's been a fucking bad bitch.
I bet you she had some wild shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Love it.
Just coming of it, late 40s, 50s, early 50s, dating and stuff like that.
I love it.
Bananas.
Oh, man. Yes, I'm ready for a round of some vintage stories.
Me
too.
What I'm not ready for is, Keegan, your story, which you told us would ruin our lives. And I'm nervous.
Yeah. Okay. So I apologize for what I'm about to do to you.
Is there any trigger warnings that you want to throw up?
There are. Yes. Listen, I know life is hard. We have had this. It's been a rough go of it, 2020. And if you're just like, you know what? I cannot handle any more traumatic news. Maybe just fast forward. Okay. Because we're about to get messy.
Oh.
Okay. So I saw this. I'm going to be honest. A bunch of people tagged me in Bailey Sarian's stuff because I have been like very forthcoming on this podcast about how much I like watching people do their makeup on YouTube.
Oh, right.
And she
Yes.
does true crime. I'm obviously interested in true crime. I had been resistant for a long time to watch her videos because I'm a jealous bitch. And I was just like pissed off that somebody else came up with this idea
Brilliant
first.
idea. Yeah.
Because what she does is she does her makeup and she tells you a true crime story every Monday. It's like murder mystery makeup Mondays. And so I'd seen
fucking brilliant, man.
It's genius.
It's
really fucking genius.
And she's really good at A, telling stories, and B, doing makeup.
Yes.
Yeah. So
she's great. She's very funny.
Yeah. You're great. It's great.
Yeah, whatever. I'm so happy for you. I'm not at all jealous.
No, it's totally great. I won't even think about it forever.
So I did start watching her videos, and I saw this one, and I was like, what? And so I started doing a little bit of research, but I will warn you, if you're going to start Googling this shit on your own, because I was doing it on my work computer at first, and I was like, I am
clear history.
my FBI agent is kicked back with some popcorn. Like, girl, what is you doing? Like, no.
We're gonna dog ear that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep an eye on you. So okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not going to say anything about what's about to happen. So here we go. So Dmitry Baksheev was born in 1982 in southern Russia, and he was placed in an orphanage shortly after his birth because his mom just couldn't take care of him. And so he stayed in the orphanage until the age of 3 when he was adopted by a couple named Svetlana and Vladimir. And he was a quiet boy. His adoptive parents were like, yeah, he was just kind of like a loner. He liked to keep to himself, but nothing to be concerned about, just a quiet kid. It seems like his early childhood was fairly happy, or at least it wasn't so bad that anything is documented about his early childhood. But when Dmitry was 15, his mother, Svetlana, was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away like within a week of her diagnosis, like very, very quickly.
So traumatic.
And after the death of his mother, I don't know if his father, Vladimir, like, I don't know if it was the grief or what happened, but he became very abusive.
Can I time out real quick on your storytelling and say that how much I appreciate you not continuing to call them adopted parent. I like that. That's her mother, and that's his mother, and that's his father.
Thank you.
I appreciate
I did that on purpose because I was like, I a lot of the things I read said adopted mother, adoptive father, and I was just like, no.
At some point, they're your actual fucking parents.
Yeah.
As the person who's adopted in the room, I can say that it is one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
When, there's a whole train that we can go down, but I'm not going to. But thank you for that.
Well, yeah,
anyway.
from the time of 3 to 15 at this point, I mean, those are his parents. So
absolutely.
I also feel like I read somewhere about specifically Russian orphanages about children placed in there, especially babies, not getting enough touch.
That's something that was a big thing in the 80s.
I think Child of Rage, that documentary, they talk about that, specifically with Russian orphanages, because there was just so many, they didn't, I mean, that's why when I went to Romania, one of the things that I did was go to hospitals and orphanages and hold babies. There were too many babies there, and they needed people to hold them because they have to have that.
It's so important.
So I mean, there can be attachment disorders. I don't know if Dmitry had an attachment disorder, but it's possible. He spent 3 years in an orphanage. So
anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. But his father became very cold and distant and abusive towards him after the mother died. And I don't know if that was him processing grief. You know, who knows like what happened, because it seems like before that things were okay. But he ended up kicking Dmitry out of the house at 15 with like just a loaf of bread. Like gave him a loaf of bread and was like, deuces, good luck, goodbye. See you never.
This isn't Les Mis. Like,
no shit.
Oh my God.
I mean, and we're talking like, so he was born in 82 and he was 15, so we're in the 90s.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here's a loaf of bread.
Bye. So now Dmitry is 15. He's homeless. He's just trying to get by. He's living on the streets. He's just doing what he can. And eventually he ends up stealing a car and robbing a store. So he robs a store and then he steals a car to get away. And
he's trying to fucking survive.
They're
and
crimes
he's
of desperation. Truly. Yeah. And so up to this point, you're like, I'm feeling bad for you, Dmitry.
Yeah.
So
take a turn. I feel
it will take a turn. Yes. So he tries to take off in the stolen car, and he doesn't get very far. He ends up getting caught pretty quickly and taken to prison. And while he's in prison at 15, no one comes to visit him. His dad doesn't come to visit him. Nobody comes to visit him. So
in prison for a 15-year-old. Oh my god.
Yeah. So we know it's sad. Don't feel too bad for him.
okay.
When Dmitry gets released from prison, he actually seems to have turned to leave. He gets a job working construction. He gets an apartment. Things are looking up for Dmitry, but he is still kind of a little weirdo. Like, he doesn't really have friends, and people who knew or worked with him said that he was untidy, which makes sense because it's like, yeah, he's been on his own since he was 15. He didn't learn how to like take care of himself. All those like basic hygiene things like you learn from your parents. Like he didn't learn those things. He also liked to hang out in bars with drunk people, even though he didn't really drink himself, which to me is a red flag. Like that's some Bill Cosby shit. Because Bill Cosby didn't drink, but he facilitated drinks
correct
to other people.
It's a control thing where it's like you feel even more in control because other people are
out of control,
incapacitated.
Right.
So
yeah, you have all your mental facilities and you're around people who do not. Yeah, which to me is a red
fun.
Flag.
Yeah, it's not fun for me.
It's also not fun.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that if you're getting something out of it,
you was very specific,
strange.
Right?
Yeah.
So one night when Dmitry is hanging out at the bar, he meets a lady named Natalia. Now, Natalia is 7 years older than Dmitry. She was also born in southern Russia. Her mother died when she was young, and so she was raised by her grandmother. And after finishing high school, she went on to become a senior nurse and ended up working as a nurse at a military facility in Russia. And that's where she met her first husband at the age of 23. So they get married, they have a baby, things seem to be going well for Natalia, but soon after their son is born, Natalia's husband dies suddenly. We don't know why or how. I couldn't find anything about like how he died. There's like nothing out there. So Natalia ends up turning to alcohol to help her cope. And soon she is drinking heavily, honey. So things at this point kind of go fucking off the rails for Natalia. She's drinking. She's also taking like a shit ton of medication. I don't know if it's prescribed medication or like what, but she's combining alcohol and meds in excess. And then her home also became, quote, untidy. I don't know if this is just a lot of the sources that I read.
My car. And that's what I'm getting from today. I'm going to clean my car out this weekend.
Most of the news sources that I was reading from were either British English news sources or Russian news sources. And like, that's kind of the language they were using. It means hoarding, like the hoarding situation. Like
that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Actually.
Like it became untidy, like gross, not just like messy, like my apartment is, So
I've been to your apartment so many times.
I know,
you've
it's
called
like
it untidy,
spotless.
and I'm like, okay.
Okay. Eventually, she decides to check herself into a mental facility. So when she gets there, she demands that they test her for manic disorder. She's like, I think I have a manic disorder. Please test for that. Because she believes that something's wrong with her. And the doctors check her out and they're like, no, you're fine. Go home.
Wow.
And but she demanded though that they like put it in her chart. They were like, make a note that like I asked for this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when she gets home, her drinking is cranked up to an 11. It's so bad that she ends up getting fired from her job, but she's kind of like, well, fine, fuck all y'all. I'm going to go live at the bar now. So then she spends like most of her time, even though she still has her apartment, and I was unclear as to how she's paying for this. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it was one she owned, because it was the apartment she lived in with her husband. So I don't know if it was something that like they owned this place or what the deal was, but she was like, fine. So she's drinking spending most of her time at the bar.
Where's her fucking kid?
There.
At the bar?
At the
untidy house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there wasn't a lot about the son, so I'll talk a little bit about that later. But like he stayed out of it like as much as possible.
He's like, my name's Paul Swignon.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm gonna play with these old newspapers.
So she does. She's hanging out at the bar, and that's when she meets Dmitry. And these two hot messes hit it off right away. They are very compatible, compatible. They're spending lots of time together. So shortly after they meet, Natalia is like, hey, so I got this apartment. My husband's gone. You want to move in? So
you like mess. I like mess.
We can be messy together. Let's go. So he's like, hell yes, I want to move in. So he moves in, and they seem to be doing great. They date for 5 years.
How old are they at this point?
So
did you say?
I didn't say. So this is in I think they meet in 2012.
Okay.
So they're like adults.
Yeah, they're adults.
They're
Yeah.
in their 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're adults. And so after they've dated for 5 years, the couple decides to make it official and get married. And once they get married, that's when Natalia's son, who has always been embarrassed, like a family friend came forward and was like, he was embarrassed by his mother's drinking his whole life, of course. He, after they get married, was just like, you know what? I'm out. And he moves out, and we don't really know what happened with him after that.
Hopefully that he had a happy life and a fulfilling job and a beautiful family.
I hope so.
That.
Let's say that that's what happened. Yeah. Okay.
I like that.
So
I like that for him.
Me too. And I know what you're thinking. Okay. I know you're thinking, Keegan, you said this story was terrible.
Oh, I can't wait.
So
no, I'm
far,
waiting.
Things are fine. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah.
You said it was going to ruin our lives. I'm prepared. I'm still buckled in. I'm not even going to fucking pretend I'm not buckled.
I've let my guard down.
This is where shit takes a turn. So on September 11th, 2017, recently, you guys, so less than 3 years ago, a construction crew finds a cell phone on the side of the road. And they did what any of us nosy Nellies would do. They opened up that cell phone and they went straight to the pictures. They were like, what's in here? So they opened the pics. They're swiping. And then they're like, hold up. Wait a minute. What the fuck is that? They find what appears to be a selfie of a man who has human body parts in his mouth. So this dude is straight up posing. Cassie's gone already. It gets so much worse.
Oh my God. That shit's in the cloud.
I mean, it is, you have to wonder. Like, my first thought is like, boo, why don't you have a passcode on your phone?
Also true. Jesus Christ.
Like, why don't you, you got some shady shit on there. Why don't you have a passcode on your phone?
I hate it.
So this dude in the picture, he is posing with what looks like a human head in one hand and a dismembered hand in his mouth. Side note.
These better be fucking props for a movie.
You're like, I'm questioning what's happening here. So obviously the construction dudes are horrified. They keep scrolling through pictures. They're finding other really scary shit on the phone. And so they call the cops. The cops show up. They take the phone into evidence. And when they're looking at the phone, they're finding body parts in pictures on the phone and what appears to be women's wigs. So the cops put the SIM card into their system and they see that the phone is registered under Dmitry's name. So they go and they find him and they pick him up. And while they're at it, they're like, Natalia better come too. We don't know what's happening here. Take them both in. We're going to talk to them. So when they arrive at the home, they notice that it is wrecked. Like, it is an episode of Hoarders Wrecked. You can find pictures online of what their house looks like. But I warn you, because Christina went straight for her phone.
I'm not.
I warn you, if you look at pictures,
if you get a good one, send it to me and I'll put it up for the Facebook.
You will see that their home is hoarded, but you are also going to find some pictures you may not want to see. So just hold it.
No.
So they take the couple in and they start questioning them separately. And when they're talking to Natalia, okay, guys, we're all in committed relationships. What would you do if the cops take you in, they show you a picture of your husband with body parts?
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna go here with you. My first thought is those are clearly movie props. These are definitely props for something. This is a joke, it's a prank, it's whatever. I would like to have my lawyer, please.
So she denies knowing it because she's basically like, what? So she denies knowing anything. But she's acting suspiciously because the cops are like, hey, this is your reaction doesn't feel appropriate given what we've just shown you.
Right.
So
you feel a little too comfortable with this.
yeah, she's kind of just like, well, that's weird, and that's kind of like it. So they're like, we're gonna go peel this onion. So they go to their home. Sorry,
Their hoarder hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just saw pictures.
Did you say one?
Untidy is. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Before they go to her home, so the cops are like, okay, let's dig a little deeper, okay? And so they start pushing her, and eventually she's like, actually, crazy. I remember what happened. So let me tell you the truth now. So this is what happened. She says that she was walking home one night, and she had Dmitry's phone on her, and she came across a dead body. You know, as you do. And she took some pictures of it. And I guess she let, her hubs pose with it or something. Not a big deal, guys. No big deal.
I mean, that's still a crime.
And she's basically like, you guys need to chill. It's not that big of a deal. And the cops are like, I'd like to politely disagree with you.
That's so
Agree to disagree.
Fucking weird. Is even if that was the true story, that's still
I hate it.
So fucking weird.
I'm uncomfy.
And gross.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, she's like, no, we didn't kill anyone. I just let my husband put a hand in his mouth. So,
dude, that's not just like a coronavirus shudder, because I'm just like,
it is also that for me. I'm gonna say it's both. You put.
So they end up, I'm sorry, I warned you.
Yeah.
They end
dude,
up
I'm riveted.
At the Baksheev's home, and their hoarder home, and they're digging through all the garbage, right? Because they're like, there's so much garbage in here, and they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Oh my God, is this the house from last week's episode?
Oh God.
I mean, maybe.
Oh my God.
Was that man's name Dmitry? So they end up opening like the junk drawer in the kitchen, the junk drawer that we all have.
It sounds like they had a junk house. Why do you have a drawer?
You're right.
Like what?
You're right.
Like,
it's junk everywhere.
Yeah.
Like their house is the junk drawer. Like,
But they open a drawer in the kitchen, and they find 10 cell phones and a stack of photographs. And they're like, that's strange. So they start looking through the pics, and at first, they're like, nothing to see here. Looks like they're just hanging out with friends. It's just like pictures of them with their friends. And then they're like, oh my God, it's a severed head on a platter.
Okay, so what fucking CVS did you go to fucking develop that
Girl,
film?
that is in my notes. I'm like, how?
What 1 hour photo employee isn't like, that's fucking weird?
And
it's
doesn't not like you have a dark room in your house.
Because I'm the 1 hour photo guy who's like, these are definitely props for a movie.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to die.
I do want to say once again, you can find these pictures online.
Oh,
yeah. I don't recommend it. And a lot of, it was very difficult because
this was like 3 years ago.
I didn't want to see the actual pictures, so it was like kind of like tiptoeing through a minefield, trying to like open like stories, because some of them blurred stuff out and some of them didn't. And so, but the one that I saw that was blurred out, it was a head on a silver platter. The head was blurred out, but you can see around the outside they put like oranges, like orange slices.
No.
And then I couldn't see because they blurred it out, but the description of it is that there are food in places.
So like cherries in the eyes. And
olives.
Like, okay.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Olives aren't going to cook well.
It's not good. Yes. So the photograph, though, was dated December 28th, 1999.
Ooh.
Which was before Natalia and Dmitry met. So now the cops are like, what the actual fuck is happening here? So next they go and they look in the fridge, which, as we know,
no, don't go in, don't open the fridge, don't open the fridge,
don't do it. But next to the fridge there's a side cabinet that has the microwave on top. It's like whatever, the microwave side table, and in front of the microwave they're like, what's this wig doing here? That's weird. So they're like, God, these people have an obsession with women's wigs, because they were seeing it in pictures, like so many wigs.
They're not wigs.
So they move it.
It's never a mannequin.
It's not a wig. It's not a wig. It's
a scalp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
By the time this is my own emphasis, but I'm assuming by the time they open the fridge, they are freaking the fuck out. Oh, I know I would be. I'm like, I don't want to be the one to open the fridge.
This is what I feel like because, we watch shows like Hannibal, which, by the way,
we don't.
Well, I do.
And my husband.
Yes.
It has the most crazy crimes that I'm always like,
you're like, no
that's
way.
ridiculous. That obviously, like, nothing like that ever happens. And then we got this fucking bananas.
And I really wanted to give a trigger warning because all I could think of was when Cassie did what's her face from
Australia.
Catherine Knight.
Catherine Knight. And you talked about the meat curtain. And someone commented on it lives in my memory because someone commented on our Instagram and they were like, y'all, I was eating a fucking pepperoni stick when you started talking about the meat curtain. And so I was like, I gotta warn people because it gets dark. So
don't be eating.
Inside the fridge, there were tons of mason jars that were full of body parts. I'm not going to get into details, but it's real gross. So some of the jars were full of saline solution, and some of them had pickled body parts in them. As someone who just made pickles,
I know.
Gross. Just jars on jars in there, you guys.
I know. And then you say mason jars, and all I can think of is like Pinterest weddings, and I'm like, well,
it's funny because that's how Bailey Sarian described it. She's like, when you get on Pinterest and things are like organized by color, it's like pickles and pineapples and whatever.
Oh,
so this fridge is also just outside of the fact that it has human body parts in it. This fridge is just nasty. Like you can see pictures of it. There's just but
you
okay.
don't even have to say it. Like their house is disgusting. Their fridge is clearly. My house is fucking clean, and I literally opened my refrigerator today and I was like, yeah, this shit needs scrubbed out.
There's a picture of the inside of the fridge, and there's just like a loose half a chicken in there.
God damn it!
Like just
raw. Take a fucking food safety course.
Don't put your food with the severed body part. Hi.
But it wasn't even
contamination.
It wasn't even on a plate or anything. Like it was just like this chicken was just hanging out.
Oh God! Why is that just
people
as bad?
Get to live and not get salmonella poisoning?
God,
I don't get it.
So the cops are like, I'm sorry, it's not funny.
Fuck,
it's not funny. It's terrible. But the cops are like, we don't know what's people and what's not people in this fridge.
Oh my God.
So they unplug the fridge and they take the whole fridge as evidence.
Oh God, an unfucking plugged fridge of dead body parts?
God.
It just is a kind of
I apologize in advance if there's any way you can make that softer.
Yeah.
There is kind of a funny visual though of them just being like, look, we're not going to try and sit here and figure out what's raw chicken and what's people. So just take the whole fridge.
Take the whole thing. Oh my God. Somebody's got to like truck it down the stairs, on a fucking
they've
dolly.
strapped it to a dolly. Yeah.
Oh God.
So I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for laughing. Okay. So they test everything in the fridge and they end up concluding that there were 19 pieces of human skin in there. They also found 7 packs of frozen body parts in the freezer. They start digging through those pictures and tons are pictures of body parts, which are like, again, are they developing themselves? We don't know. So they also find a recipe book in Natalia's handwriting that was a cannibal cookbook of recipes to make with human remains and video lessons for cannibals in the home. Now, and they don't specify whether or not it was them.
This is Hannibal, isn't it?
If it was them who made the video or if it was like a video they acquired somewhere and had in their house. Like it's not specified.
Oh my God.
Honestly, were they watching Hannibal?
And they were like, this is real. We can do this. Oh my God.
So now both Dmitry and Natalia are officially under arrest. And they go back to question. What? They go back to question Natalia and they bring the stack of pictures and they're like, do you want to explain this? And she was able to identify 30 people that she and Dmitry allegedly killed, dismembered, and ate.
Jesus
allegedly.
Christ.
When they ran some of the names through the system, it turned out that several of the people that Natalia had identified had been missing. Like they were on their missing persons list. So the cops are like, okay, So you have all these victims. Where are they? Because they weren't all in your house.
My belly.
Yes, exactly. So she mentions that they did have a cellar nearby where they kept more body parts in some of the victims' possessions. And I couldn't find anything as to whether or not they located the cellar or what was inside. Now, I also want to say that, like, this was kind of a hard one to research. So if a lot of these facts are wrong, I'm sorry. This is what I was able to find, because it seems to me like Russian officials were really trying to keep this shit hush-hush. And
it sounds like it, because I feel like we should have heard about this.
And like, as I'll say later, also it became even more murky because the people of Russia, once they heard this shit, conspiracy theories ran fucking wild. So there's like a lot that I'm like, I don't know if that is fact or not. But I'm just gonna, for the sake of this story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at this point, Natalia is pretty much done talking. So they try and get more out of her about her motives, but she's just like, no. Dmitry, on the other hand, does share a little bit more. So he tells them that he and Natalia, and this is, besides the fact that this is a couple, this is why this is a Crazy in Love. He and Natalia were on dating websites, and that they would go on dates with people they met.
Oh, no.
And that's how they would get their victims.
Don't let people know where you live.
But what
Use a fake number.
What about the fucking picture with dude face head before
99.
they'd even met?
So we'll get to it. So on December 8th, 2017, which the phone was found on September 11th. So on September 8th, they met up with a woman named Helena, and Helena and Dmitry were both 35. Natalia is 42. So they go out for drinks. Things are going well. Dmitry and Helena in particular are hitting it off really well. This makes Natalia super fucking jealous, which I wrote in my notes because it made me, when I was writing it, it made me think of that meme of that possum where he's like, stay away from my trash.
Yes.
That's how I feel about Natalia. She's like guarding Dmitry. She's like, this is my trash. And so Natalia storms off, and Dmitry, who always keeps a knife on him, soup's chill, takes out his knife and he just starts stabbing Helena. Why? Not sure. So Natalia says that she came back and saw what was going on, but that she did not join in on the stabbing. She just watched passively, I guess. But Dmitry is like, nah, she's a lying hoe. She was right there stabbing with me. So after Helena dies, they dismember her, and that's when they take all of those pictures. And when authorities ask why he did what he did, Dmitry said, I just did something stupid. Yeah. Okay.
We're all like,
I just did something stupid. End quote. That's the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Just stupid little mishap. You know, youth.
Utes
So-
these days.
Both Dmitry and Natalia were sent to prison. Natalia tried to say that she was mentally ill, and she pointed to her past in the mental hospital.
She's like,
as
I tried
proof.
told you fuckers.
She's like, go back and look at my record. You'll see that I was mentally unwell. And a lot of people speculate now that that was kind of preemptive the first time she went to the mental hospital. Because,
That
and that's
she had
why
already killed by that point.
and that's why she was so insistent of like, put it in my chart. I want it
shit.
documented that like, because she wanted to be able, if she was ever caught for anything, to go back and say like, I tried to tell you that I was
Sorry,
sick.
I'm crazy.
I'm nuts. So the psychiatrist did evaluate her. He evaluated her over the course of some time, and then eventually concluded that she was not mentally unwell, in that she was aware of what she was doing at the time.
What's wrong?
So
Yeah.
he's like, she may have some issues, clearly, but like
Right.
she's not like the legal
Bitch needs therapy.
right,
but
right. But the legal definition of insanity, like she knew what she was doing at the time. She wasn't,
Absolutely.
and she knew that there were consequences for her
to
actions. Right.
Exactly.
So she was convicted in February of 2019, and the court found her,
Jesus.
I know, the court found her guilty of incitement to murder. She was sentenced to 10 years in a penal colony and 1.5 years in a maximum security prison. Doesn't feel like enough, does it?
Ooh.
On June 28th, 2019, Dmitry Baksheev was sentenced to 12 years and 2 months in a maximum security prison. In addition, he was prescribed compulsory supervision and treatment by a psychiatrist. Now, remember that picture from 1999?
Yeah.
Well, it was concerning for authorities, and they were like,
wait,
they were like,
my
hey.
outrage hasn't fully developed yet.
They're like, how long has this been going on? Are there other people involved? Like, what's the deal?
30
There's at
victims?
least fucking dude,
30 victims that they know of.
That they know of. Exactly.
12 years?
Well,
oh my God.
Okay, so the Russian media and the public went absolutely ape shit with theories about that there had to be like a larger family of cannibals involved, like a cannibal ring, right? Like, you know, we talk about like these like sex rings and things that are kept under, but like a cannibal ring or something, because it turns out that all of the pieces of the body parts that were found in the home, according to the police, which again, we're not sure if they're telling us the full truth of anything, but the police have said that the body parts that were found in the home all belonged to one victim.
Helena.
That was all one victim. So what's the deal with all these pictures? Like, where did these pictures come from? Dmitry would have been fairly young in 1999, I feel like. And then there are rumors and conspiracy theories that Dmitry and Natalia, they're part of this bigger ring, and that they just never outed any of the other members, and that they just couldn't believe that the two of them were able to murder and dismember 30 people without getting caught over a span of 5 years. So they were like, there has to be something bigger going on, and they just took the fall for everything. Mm-hmm. The actual number of victims is unknown, because Dmitry only confessed to the murder of 2 people, and they weren't able to identify the other victim.
Can we talk about, you confessed to a murder of 2 people, even if it's just 1 people?
12 is not enough.
Years.
Yeah.
No, it's not enough. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
I'm
and
shooketh.
Natalia said that there were 30 victims, but again, they were only able to identify the body parts in the home as belonging to one person.
They're like, our prisons are so bad in Russia that 12 years is actually life.
Well, and she was sentenced to a penal colony, which is like for 10 years, which is, it doesn't sound as bad as prison, but it's actually like, upon research,
it's not sounds terrible.
It's really terrible. Yeah. Apparently there's a lot of like abuse and terrible things that happen there. So,
sounds like she's going to get what she deserves.
I mean,
sorry. That sounds terrible.
Take
that out. Cut that out.
It's not to say that some of the other body parts didn't belong to other people. It's just that, this is gross, they were in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And so it was very difficult to identify if there was...
Some of them were pickled.
Yeah, it's just really hard. They didn't have the capacity to be able to identify if anything else in the home belonged to anyone else. Like, they just couldn't figure it out.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not, and I've seen the pictures.
There's videos and recipes.
Right, and I've seen pictures.
How many recipes can you make with one body?
The pictures that I saw, again, most of them were blurred out, but I'm like, these are pictures from multiple people. So where did these come from? Right? Like, so it's like, it doesn't make any sense. The cops in Russia say that this case was only about the murder / dismemberment of one person, and that there is no evidence that they killed a bunch of other people. But like, again, where did those pictures come from? And so to me, it feels very much like a cover up. Like, they're like, we don't want this shit to get out.
No wonder people are conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It goes all the way to the top.
Exactly.
On February 16th, 2020, so just a few months ago, Dmitry died of untreated type 1 diabetes while in custody in prison. So anyway, these 2 fucked up people managed to somehow find each other, and also be careful on dating sites.
Oh my God. Dude, I'm totally looking up more shit about that.
It's
like
wild. It's wild. Crazy. Yeah. And so people went off the rails. Like, it was interesting to me, like the conspiracy theories of being like, well, this picture was from 1999. That's before they met. You have a bunch
he would have
of
been
pictures.
17 because he was
Also,
born in 82.
Listen, here's the other side of that. You can put any fucking date on a picture. It doesn't make that picture actually dated. Just, it's the same thing I say about like certain people who are like fact, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can write fact, but you don't, it doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and it's without transparency of like actually knowing what's going on, because the reason why people know so much about it is because somebody managed to leak the photos that were on his phone. And like, I mean, we have the
construction workers. We're like all sitting in
they're
like
bloop, bloop, emailing this to me. Yeah. So someone managed to leak the contents of his phone, and so a lot of those like photos got out. And then I don't know how the actual pictures, because you can see the one of the like the head on the plate and stuff like that. I don't know how those got out, but somehow those managed to get leaked as well. So that's why people know
find the richest cop
some
on the
of
force
this stuff. But yeah, I mean, even if it had just been one person, they murdered a woman, cut her up,
ate her,
and then they were sentenced to 10 and 12 years.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I got
wild.
a lot to say about that.
And when I was doing my notes, I was like, Keegan, do you really want to do this? It's so gross, but
it's wild. That's good.
But it also
That's
sounds
crazy.
It also sounds too like, you know, if that photo is legit, if she was actually engaging in that kind of activity before, and like, how do you fucking convince someone else to do that kind of crazy with you?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you take somebody who hasn't had a lot of stability, because at that point, probably Natalia was the most stable relationship that he's had, you know, outside of maybe like his early life with his parents. Right. So it's like, you take somebody like that and you're like, hey, this is what I'm into. And they're like, great. I live here, so fine. You know, I guess I'll do this stuff too. You know,
that was a wild ride.
Ooh-wee.
Yes. Well, escape.
Yeah. What are we watching this week?
Oh my gosh. So Anthony and I started watching a show on Showtime called Back to Life. It is so good. So it's a British show, and it's a woman. It's about a woman who, when she was 18, she was convicted of murdering her friend, and she just got out of prison. So she's in like her late 30s, or like she's like 40 or whatever, and she like gets out of prison, goes back to her hometown, living with her parents, and like what it's like to be like
back to life.
To life. Yeah. And so it's really funny, but it's also poignant. God, they really walk that line between a lot of incredibly written humor and it also being this kind of like murder mystery about like what happened back then. And yeah, it's
I'm interested.
It's good. It's really good. And the episodes are short. They're like half an hour or less. So it's easy to consume and get through. And yeah, loving it.
I'm definitely interested in that. We have a rule right now where we have to finish one of the stupid shows that we've started so that we can fucking finish it completely and move on. So we're trying to finish up Alias, but I did the other night when Chris fell asleep, turned on the movie Disclosure. Which is I high recommend if you have Netflix. It's Disclosure. It's about transgender you know, representation in film and everything, and it was incredibly insightful, incrededly well done. Bring a hanky. It's on our list. I highly recommend it. And I felt, especially since last week we had discussed something that I had posted, which was I felt came to find out that was insensitive toward transgender community. I felt very compelled to watch something that was would also be in learning.
Give you some insight. Yeah. I mean,
again,
you don't
it's
know
not somebody else's job to teach me,
but you don't know what you don't know, and like that's what makes those like documentaries like that so important. Is like we need to be able to like convey these stories in an empathetic way. You know, I'm very excited.
They did a really incredible job, and I am a hard stand for what's her name?
Laverne Cox.
Oh my God, I love Laverne Cox. And so, of course, you know that our friend Mackenzie and I went to our nail salon. She gets her nails done where we get our nails done. And I was like, oh my God.
Nice.
Totally didn't bother her, by the way. So just inside screams.
I have been watching Hannibal, but I don't like it. I just it's just something to watch right now. Yeah,
Had you watched it before? Or is this your first time?
First time watching it. I just cannot get over how much I dislike the main guy.
Yeah.
And
I
I
don't
know
love
I'm
it.
in the
I hate it.
minority there, but
I know people love that show. My husband Chris is absolutely fucking obsessed with that show. He loves it.
I'm just like,
Hugh Dancy or Hannibal?
Hugh Dancy.
Okay.
Oh, I like Mads Mikkelsen. Is that his name?
I feel
The
like
guy
I
that plays
felt
Hannibal?
the same way as you when I first started
The
watching
writing
Hannibal.
is terrible, and I keep waiting to like. And then Gillian Anderson joined, and I'm like,
Queen.
Okay, maybe.
she is.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, we got to throw her into a fuck, marry, kill at some point. Goddamn.
If you want
I
to
love
stop
her.
from that, you should check out a show that I've mentioned before called Bosch.
Oh, yes. But the biggest thing that I'm excited about, though, fucking Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Oh.
Dude, I've watched that trailer like 7 times.
I'm excited.
It looks good as fuck. It's like your old school
Yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries with the fucking Stranger
it
Thing
looks
production value.
insane. Like, because you watch Unsolved Mysteries, and I fucking love the old school Unsolved Mysteries.
yeah,
Just tell me
Robert
which ones are
Stack
the
all
aliens
day.
ones, so I
But
can
you
skip 'em.
watch Unsolved Mysteries, and you're like, the production value, it's like full standard def. Like the production definition, I mean, it is low. The quality is low. And I love, somebody has
The
an Instagram.
reenactments.
Have you seen the Instagram people of Unsolved Mysteries? There's an entire Instagram that's just pictures, like stills, because they get
Amazing.
the wildest people from like the 80s and 90s on
Yes.
that show. This looks like the production value
Yeah.
is mwah,
It's
like
going to be
chef's
so
kiss.
good, so
Yes.
scary.
I'm
and
excited.
I'm so excited.
I am
so,
actually excited.
so stoked. Yeah.
Yes,
We
I
did
can't
start
wait to talk
watching
about it next
Eurovision
week.
last night.
Oh,
The new
yeah?
Will Ferrell
How was
movie.
that?
I totally started falling asleep. But to be fair, we didn't start watching until like 11. So it's not the movie. It was me. But I can't wait to finish that. It sounds fun.
Well, hey, if you've got stories, we want your vintage stories. We want your stories. We want any stories at all, short, long, as long as they're terrifying, funny, awful, all the things, send them to our one-stop shop of website at myworstatepodcast.com. And we love you guys so much.
Cheers.